Hey everybody, it's Rena. I thought I'd share something else with you today. I did put a video up yesterday, which was about demons, a demon attack and encounter. And I thought I'd put something up that kind of surprised me. It was a vision I had about a month ago. And I'm holding this beautiful candle that my daughter and my son-in-law got me for a holiday. I forget what it was. And anyway, Um, I first of all, I'm not really super religious. I'm not religious. I'm really spiritual. The Bible kind of has me perplexed. I like to read uh, Revelations, Psalms. I like to go to church once in a while. I took my kids to church for 5 years to show them what organized religion was because we never had that when I was a kid because we didn't have a car till we were 19 years old. So we had to walk everywhere, and church was not an option. I went during the summers with my tanta, which means aunt in German. But anyway, I've never been like, and as far as the rapture goes, I believe we are in Revelations at this time. It's called. They told me it was called the Great Cleansing. Part of it, this is the cleansing of the earth and the spirit world, and because the world has become so corrupt, as you can see in govt, I don't want to get this taken down, that our we can't even trust our own, you know, to tell us the truth. And there are many things I know that I've seen in vision that are lies, out and out lies, that were cover ups, that were this, that. And a lot of other people feel the same way. Not because they're psychic, but because it doesn't make sense what the GOVT is telling us. Anyway, so then getting back to the rapture, I'm not religious, but I am extremely spiritual. And I don't need a church to go to God, although I do feel good going to church and singing psalms. And I know all the songs they start to sing. I know them all. My husband would stand there like, and I was just singing along with, all the stuff because I know it. Like I said, took my kids to church for 5 years. We were married in church, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and we're Lutheran. So we're Germans, usually are Lutheran. Prussians, we're actually Prussian, and Scandinavian and English. And anyway, so I wasn't really believing the rapture. I just couldn't see how God could just like snatch people up out of whatever they were doing and take them up to heaven. I've had visions where God, like in a vision, one vision, a shade was pulled down. It was the shade, it was the colors of my angel, which is like a beautiful rose color, and it was pulled down over the horizon, and came closer to it was in a windowsill, and it came closer to the ground. So I assumed that was kind of what the rapture meant, that God would, during this, after this time of tribulation, would come closer to people, that people would become more spiritual, and other things too that I explain what I've seen. So anyway, I was kind of hesitant on the rapture. I was thinking, oh, I don't think I'm going to get plucked up or anybody else or whatever. But anyway, so I had this vision, and I was standing in front. Put the candle down so I can do this better. I was standing in front of a globe, the Earth, and I could see the tilt on the earth, like the roundness of the earth, which I've often seen. When I look at the earth, I see the sphere. And it was all dark. It was like an amphitheater. It was all dark, but the earth was there, and it had metal plates on it, and the plates all shifted together to meet in different areas and in different ways, and I could hear the sound of like metal kind of scratching against itself, like it would shift. And down in the middle there was a light, and it was shining from above, and it spotlighted a certain spot in the darkness. I knew there was darkness, and there was a dark hallway down to my right. Everything else was dark. All you could see was the light shining down. And all of a sudden, the spheres, the pieces of the metal plates started to shift. And they started to shift around, and they met in one place, like from different areas. It was all intricately designed so it would be a perfect fit to fit this one, and then another one would come and it would perfectly fit like on that side. And I'm looking at it, and it did that. And in the middle, two little girls came together, and they were like between 6 and 10, and the light was shining down on them. And I knew they had been picked by God. And this was the rapture. And they had been picked by God. And then after they stopped and the light shone down on them because that was God. He picked them. They went off into the corridor, the dark corridor. And they didn't look happy. They didn't look sad. They just looked a little anxious. And I was a little anxious. And this kept happening. And then a sphere, the shift, the metal shift would come from another spot, but it would always land in the middle where the light was, where God was shining down. And it was like God had picked these people, and they were all children, and they all happened to be girls. And God had picked them for a certain reason. And he had chosen them to go to him. Even though they were fine, they weren't sick or anything like that. He had just chosen them. And they would walk off into the dark corridor down there. There was a little light before you entered it, and then they would just kind of run off. And this happened a bunch of times. And I was watching, and I was saying, why is he picking children? Like, I don't understand why he's picking children. And I was a little upset that these children would be leaving their families. They'd be leaving their families behind. They were just picked by God. And this happened a few times, and then they always ran off into the corridor. And then I came out of the vision, and I realized that was, and I knew it while it was happening, because in a vision, you're totally aware of what's going on. It's like being in reality. And I was wondering why God had picked children, and not so much that he picked girls, but that the light shone down, and then they all came together from wherever they were, and they came together with another person, or sometimes they may have been one person, but it all worked out mathematically timed to the milli, whatever measurement was. It just shifted to that spot where they would be under, and God picked them. So anyway, that was my vision, and I realized that the rapture, what is described, is real, even though I never really believed it would happen like that. And I don't know how it's going to happen, but I saw it, and I realized something in my head told me, you just seen, this is it. This is what's going to happen. That God is going to pick certain people, and they're going to go to God. Not because, like I said, they're sick or anything, but because he chose them. The whole thing is God will be choosing certain people, because we are at a time of the great cleansing, and God has a plan, a very distinct plan, and the rapture is real. And this is coming from somebody who didn't really believe it, but I saw it. And I know it's going to happen. And I was kind of sad, like I said, because I thought these children will be leaving, maybe because they were innocent. Maybe because he'll pick people who are innocent, who are trusting of God, who are true believers, because they were symbolized as children. So, if you believe in the rapture, you got it right. I do now. And I expect this is a time of great tribulation on the earth. and in heaven. There is a war going on in heaven too at this time. And people who are psychic, their powers will be enhanced, and people who are not even psychic will be able to see things. And this is a very bad time for the earth. There is a fight between good and evil going on. And it's going on the earth and in heaven. And God has a plan. God knows exactly what he's doing. And God is going to change the earth completely, which I will speak of what I've seen. You can believe whatever you want. I mean, I'm just telling you what I know and I've seen because I'm supposed to share. That's what having this is all about. You're supposed to share. So I'm sharing with you that the rapture is real and this is going to happen. And I don't know when, but I believe we are in the times of revelations. I've read back and forth, and I can see symbolism. And so I'm just telling you that. So if it comforts you, just know that God is in control. God knows exactly what God is doing. God has a plan. And everything in the end will be a new beginning. That is the message. And it may be scary. These are scary times. And this is scary. The rapture, I was scared. I was like, but it will happen. Okay, well you take care and I will talk to you soon again. And I'm sharing. So take care and I love you.